Abyd Karmali. He's Bank of America, Merrill Lynch's Global Head of Carbon Emissions. Abyd, good morning. Can I ask you broadly, what is the picture for renewable energy at the moment? Is this a good time for renewable energy?
Yeah, generally speaking, the trends for renewable energy look pretty promising. Obviously, the debt markets have made things difficult over the last 12 months, and 2009 saw the first drop in capital committed to renewable energy. That's the first time there's been a reversal in a decade. But the picture looks brighter this year, given the overhanging stimulus funds and other policies and measures which we expect to be put in place later this year.
Now, polls are saying that people care less about climate change than they did. Do you think that that's something to do with the recession and it's a temporary dip rather than a sea change?
I think there's several factors at play there. One is certainly the overhang of the recession. People clearly are having difficulties facing up to the idea that they may have to take on more short-term economic pain. But of course, there's this bigger issue that we've had a throwback really to the 90s, where we're talking about the science every day. And that to some in the market is surprising, given that the big picture on science hasn't really changed. There's just been a few issues that have come up and raised, and not made the thing look very pretty.
Now, there's a bill progressing through the US at the moment that's actually going to be fairly crucial to the future of renewable energy. Just how important is it that that bill goes through? What would it mean?
It's absolutely fundamental. In fact, it's the most pivotal milestone in the year ahead. That is, all of the eyes are watching Washington to see what comes out of that bill. Will it have a cap-and-trade program to promote emission reductions? Will it have a mandatory federal renewable portfolio standard? Will the two pieces get separated, and will we have a piecemeal approach? And of course, there is another scenario, which is we could get absolutely nothing, given the focus on healthcare and financial reform. What happens in Washington is absolutely fundamental to what can happen, what can be delivered at the Cancun meeting of the climate change negotiations later in November.
I suppose everybody there at this week's conference will be urging that bill through the Senate.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that it's coming up in a couple of weeks, but most of the negotiations are going on behind closed doors. And what's interesting for us is that there are deals being cut that affect healthcare, that affect financial service reform, and climate change. And it's a very black box type of situation. No one really has a picture as to what types of deals will be cut and what the final impact is going to be for this sector.
Now, many analysts do think that a legally binding treaty or a Kyoto extension is unlikely this year. What's your prognosis for the CDM market to post-2012?
Yeah, the CDM market is the one piece of the market that is under the most threat, because while the legal basis for the CDM will continue regardless of what happens to Kyoto, the fundamental truth is that there's huge uncertainty about what the future demand is going to be. So you could have this scenario unfold where the Kyoto first commitment period comes to an end at 2012, and there's no clear new demand centers other than the European Union. In such a scenario, obviously, the demand for new projects is going to diminish significantly, and that's what we've seen year on year. By our estimates, last year saw a 40% reduction in capital going towards new carbon credit projects in the developing world, and we expect to see a similar number for 2010, given this overhanging uncertainty.
Abyd, thank you very much indeed for joining us.